The warning sirens came too late. By the time they echoed across the Martian colony of New Horizon, the Syndicate's ships had already breached the orbital defense grid. Commander Sarah Chen watched in horror from the colony's command center as the enemy vessels, sleek and deadly, descended through the rusty Martian sky. "Status report," she barked, her eyes fixed on the tactical display showing dozens of unknown signatures entering the atmosphere. "Multiple ships of unknown configuration, Commander," Lieutenant Rodriguez responded, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. "They're not responding to any hails. Our defense systems are. They're not even registering them as threats. It's like they're ghosts." The Syndicate had done their homework. Years of surveillance, careful planning, all leading to this moment. They'd found a way to bypass every defense protocol, every failsafe that humanity had put in place. The colony's 20,000 inhabitants were completely exposed. "Evacuate the civilian sectors," Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her chest. "Get everyone to the underground shelters. Now." But it was already too late. The first blast hit the colony's main dome with devastating precision. The reinforced plasteel, designed to withstand the worst Martian storms, shattered like glass. Emergency force fields flickered to life, struggling to maintain atmospheric containment, but the Syndicate's weapons cut through them as if they weren't there. Sarah watched in helpless rage as section after section of the colony went dark. Emergency beacons flared and died. Life signs winked out by the hundreds. These weren't the actions of invaders seeking conquest. This was extermination. "Get me Earth Command," she demanded, knowing in her heart it was futile. The Syndicate had probably taken out their communications first, but she had to try. "No response on any channel, Commander," Rodriguez confirmed her fears. "We're completely cut off." Sarah clenched her fists, watching as her people died around her. The colony they'd spent decades building, humanity's first true foothold on another world, was being systematically destroyed. And for what? They'd never even seen these aliens before, never had any contact. Never. A new alert flashed on her screen. The command center's defenses were failing. They had minutes, maybe seconds left. "Send the black box data," she ordered. "Everything we have on their ships, their weapons, their tactics, encoded in the emergency quantum beacon. Make sure Earth knows what happened here." Rodriguez worked frantically at his console as the walls around them began to crack. "Beacon away, Commander. But will it matter if they can do this to us?" Sarah straightened her uniform, facing the breach that was forming in the command center ceiling. "It'll matter, Lieutenant, because now they've made a mistake. They showed us what they can do. And humanity doesn't take kindly to bullies." The ceiling gave way with a thunderous crack. As emergency sirens wailed their final warning, Sarah caught a glimpse of their killers. Towering figures in sleek armor, weapons glowing with impossible energy. The Syndicate had come to make a statement, to show humanity its place in the galaxy. They were about to learn just how badly they'd miscalculated. 12 hours later, in a secure facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral James Harrison stared at the quantum beacon's data with cold fury. The massacre at New Horizon was complete. 20,000 souls, gone in less than an hour. But the Syndicate hadn't found everything. They didn't know about facilities like this one, hidden away from prying eyes. They didn't know about Project Legacy. How long until the fleet is ready? He asked the room of grim-faced officers. General Diana Patel, head of the Legacy Initiative, stepped forward. "The ships are ready, sir. They have been for nearly a century. We just never thought we'd need them so soon." Harrison nodded slowly. Humanity had hoped for peaceful first contact, but they'd prepared for war. Deep in classified bunkers and secret orbital facilities, they'd built a fleet unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships powered by drives that bent physics itself, weapons that could tear apart the fabric of space-time, defenses born from decades of paranoid preparation. The Syndicate thinks they've caught us unprepared. Harrison said, his voice hard as steel. They think this show of force will make us submit, make us acknowledge their superiority. He looked around the room, meeting each officer's eyes. Instead, they've given us exactly what we needed. A reason to unleash everything we've been holding back. Initiate Project Legacy. All of it. As klaxons began to sound throughout the facility, Harrison turned back to the tactical display, showing the aftermath of the Martian massacre. The Syndicate had killed thousands of innocent people to make a point about their power. Now humanity would show them what real power looked like. Somewhere in the depths of human space, ancient engines began to warm up. Quantum cores pulsed with impossible energy. Weapons that defied conventional physics prepared for war. The Syndicate thought they'd struck a decisive blow against a primitive species. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Deep within the asteroid belt, hidden in the shadowed heart of a hollowed-out planetoid, humanity's greatest secret stirred to life. Captain Maya Patel stood at the observation deck of the Legacy Command Center, watching as massive bay doors slowly opened, revealing the first of Earth's hidden guardians. The Hyperion emerged from its century-long slumber, a titan of impossible engineering. 2 kilometers of quantum-hardened alloys and reality-bending technology, built by generations of engineers who knew this day might come. Its hull gleamed with a peculiar iridescence, the sign of metamaterials that could bend light, gravity, and space itself. Beautiful, isn't she? Dr. Marcus Zhang stepped up beside Maya, his eyes reflecting the shimmer of the awakening warship. As chief architect of the Legacy Fleet's quantum drive systems, he'd spent decades perfecting technology that most of humanity didn't even know existed. Hard to believe we kept all this hidden, Maya replied, watching as more ships began to emerge. The Artemis, the Osiris, the Thor. Each vessel represented a different approach to warfare, drawing from centuries of theoretical physics and forbidden technology. How many? 200 capital ships, twice that many support vessels, Marcus answered. But it's not the numbers that matter. It's what they can do. He gestured to the Hyperion. That ship isn't just fast or powerful. It breaks the rules of reality itself. The Syndicate thinks they understand space warfare. They're about to learn differently. Maya nodded grimly. She'd seen the footage from Mars, watched as the colony fell. The Syndicate's weapons had seemed unstoppable, their technology insurmountable. But that was before they knew what humanity had been hiding. The facility's quantum comm crackled to life. All Legacy commanders, this is Admiral Harrison. The Syndicate has begun systematic attacks on our outer colonies. They believe they're dealing with a primitive species that can barely reach Mars. That ends today. Maya straightened, feeling the weight of command settling onto her shoulders. She'd been training for this moment her entire life, part of a cadre of officers chosen from birth to lead humanity's hidden fleet. Your ships represent the absolute pinnacle of human achievement, Harrison continued. Quantum drives that can traverse light years in moments, weapons that can tear apart the fabric of spacetime, defense systems that make our vessels virtually indestructible. But remember, our greatest weapon isn't technology. It's the fact that we've spent centuries preparing for this exact moment. The Hyperion's engines began to pulse with strange energy, ripples of quantum distortion spreading through space around it. Maya watched as her crew took their positions, each one a specialist trained in technology that had been kept secret from the rest of humanity. The Syndicate hit Mars first because they thought it would break us. Maya addressed her crew as they prepared for departure. Instead, they'd given us exactly what we needed, a reason to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. The first test of the Legacy Fleet's power came sooner than expected. As the Hyperion led its battle group out of the asteroid belt, Syndicate sensors finally detected them. 3 enemy dreadnoughts altered course to intercept, no doubt expecting easy prey. Multiple Syndicate warships on approach, Lieutenant Sarah Chen reported from Tactical. Their energy signatures matched the ones that hit Mars. Maya smiled grimly. Perfect. Let's show them what they're really dealing with. Activate the quantum drive. The Hyperion's revolutionary drive system engaged, and reality itself seemed to bend. The ship didn't just move through space, it twisted space around itself, achieving velocities that should have been impossible. The Syndicate vessels, for all their advanced technology, suddenly found themselves facing an enemy that could outmaneuver them in ways they couldn't even comprehend. "Target locked," Sarah announced. "They're charging weapons." "Let them," Maya ordered. "Activate the phase shields." The Syndicate's energy weapons struck the Hyperion with enough force to vaporize a small moon. But instead of impacting the ship's defenses, the energy simply disappeared, absorbed into quantum fields that channeled it into the ship's own weapon systems. "Return fire," Maya commanded. "Show them what a legacy ship can do." The Hyperion's main gun fired, unleashing a weapon that didn't just damage its target. It temporarily rewrote the laws of physics in a localized area. The lead Syndicate dreadnought simply ceased to exist, its matter and energy scattered across 11 different dimensions. The remaining enemy ships attempted to retreat, finally realizing they'd grossly underestimated their opponent. But the Legacy fleet had spent too long hiding, too long watching humanity's colony suffer. There would be no escape. In the battle's aftermath, Maya stood again at the observation deck, watching the debris of the Syndicate vessels drift through space. Their first engagement had been a decisive victory, but this was just the beginning. The enemy would adapt, would bring more ships, would throw everything they had at this unexpected threat. But humanity was ready. The Legacy fleet represented not just advanced technology, but the culmination of centuries of preparation, paranoia, and determination. The Syndicate had thought they were dealing with primitives who barely understood space travel. Instead, they'd awakened a giant that had been quietly preparing for war since before they'd even reached Earth's solar system. And this was only the first wave of humanity's response. As the Hyperion and its battle group set course for the next engagement, Maya knew that the galaxy was about to learn a crucial lesson. Never underestimate humanity's capacity for innovation, especially when backed into a corner. The real war was just beginning. The void beyond Neptune's orbit erupted in a dazzling display of quantum fire. The Legacy fleet's forward battle group, led by the Hyperion, engaged a Syndicate armada 3 times their size. Space itself seemed to warp and twist as human and alien technology clashed in ways that defied conventional physics. Captain Maya Patel gripped her command chair as another volley of enemy fire rippled across the Hyperion's phase shields. "Status report." "Phase shield holding at 60%, Lieutenant Chen reported, her fingers dancing across the tactical display. "But they're learning, Captain. Their weapons are starting to synchronize with our quantum frequency." Maya had expected this. The Syndicate hadn't conquered half the galaxy by being slow to adapt. After their initial defeats, they'd brought in their elite forces, ships specifically designed to analyze and counter advanced technology. The element of surprise was gone. Multiple breaches in the Osiris's defensive grid. Commander Rodriguez called out from communications. "They're taking heavy damage." Through the quantum-enhanced viewport, Maya watched as one of their most powerful ships struggled against a swarm of Syndicate vessels. The Osiris's revolutionary weapons had torn through the enemy's first wave, but now they were being overwhelmed by sheer numbers. "Divert power to the quantum drive," Maya ordered. "We're not losing another ship, not today." The Hyperion's engines pulsed with impossible energy as it executed a maneuver that should have torn any conventional vessel apart. Space bent around them as they appeared instantly beside the Osiris, their combined phase shields creating a temporary sanctuary in the chaos of battle. But the reprieve was brief. The Syndicate pressed their advantage, their weapons becoming more effective with each passing moment. They'd identified a critical weakness in human quantum technology. The more energy it expended, the more predictable its fluctuations became. "Captain," Dr. Zhang's voice came through on a private channel. "I've been analyzing their attack patterns. There's something we missed about their technology. It's not just advanced, it's alive." Maya's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "Their ships, their weapons. they're partially organic. That's how they adapt so quickly. They're not just learning, they're evolving during combat. This changed everything. The legacy fleet had been built to counter technological superiority, not biological warfare, but in that revelation lay an opportunity. If they're alive, Maya said slowly, then they can die. Lieutenant Chen, reconfigure our quantum weapons. Don't target their ship systems, target their biological components. The battle shifted. Human weapons, originally designed to disrupt machinery and physics, were reprogrammed on the fly to attack organic matter. The effect was devastating. Syndicate ships began to falter as their living components suffered quantum-induced cellular breakdown. But victory came at a terrible price. The Osiris, despite their intervention, succumbed to its wounds. The mighty vessel, pride of the legacy fleet, erupted in a cascade of quantum energy. 5,000 crew members lost in an instant. And they weren't the only casualties. The Artemis and Thor are reporting critical damage. Rodriguez announced grimly, "We've lost 30% of our support vessels." Maya watched as the remnants of both fleets regrouped. They'd won this engagement, but the cost had been staggering. The Syndicate had lost more ships, but they could replace them faster. Each legacy vessel represented decades of work, generations of secret development. "All ships, form up on our position," she ordered. "We've learned what we needed to learn. Now we adapt." As the battered fleet assembled around the Hyperion, Maya studied the tactical data. The Syndicate's biological technology was both a strength and a weakness. They could evolve quickly, but they were vulnerable to attacks they couldn't predict. And humanity had spent centuries perfecting the art of unpredictability. "Send everything we've learned back to Legacy Command," she instructed. "Every scrap of data about their biotech. It's time we showed them that humans can evolve too." The fleet limped back toward the inner solar system, leaving a graveyard of twisted metal and crystallized organic matter floating in the Kuiper Belt. They'd won the battle, but Maya knew this was just the beginning. The Syndicate would return with new adaptations, new weapons, new tactics. But humanity had learned something vital. Their enemies weren't invincible. They were living things, and all living things had weaknesses. The legacy fleet had been built on the assumption that they'd face mechanical adversaries. Now they would remake themselves for a different kind of war. In the ship's medical bay, Dr. Zhang was already working with the science team, studying samples of Syndicate biotechnology recovered from the battlefield. If their enemies could evolve during combat, then humanity would need to evolve faster. The price of defiance had been high, but it had bought them something precious: understanding. The next phase of the war would not be fought with just quantum physics and advanced technology. It would be fought with biology, evolution, and humanity's greatest weapon: the ability to turn any weakness, even their own, into strength. 2 weeks after the Kuiper Belt battle, the Legacy Fleet's primary research facility, hidden beneath Europa's ice, was bustling with activity. Captain Maya Patel stood before a holographic display showing the integration of Syndicate biotechnology with human quantum systems. "The hybridization process is stable," Dr. Zhang announced, his face illuminated by the swirling patterns of merged human and alien technology. "We've successfully incorporated their adaptive capabilities into our quantum matrix without losing our core advantages." Maya studied the results of their latest breakthrough. The Legacy Fleet had taken their losses from the previous battle and turned them into an opportunity. Every piece of recovered Syndicate technology had been analyzed, reverse-engineered, and improved upon. "Show me," she commanded. The demonstration chamber activated, revealing a section of hull plating suspended in a quantum field. As they watched, the material began to shift and change, responding to different types of energy weapons. But unlike the purely organic adaptations of Syndicate technology, these changes followed precise quantum algorithms, evolving in ways that their enemies couldn't predict. "We're not just copying their biological systems," Zhang explained. "We're quantum encoding evolutionary patterns. The Syndicate's ships evolved through natural selection. Ours evolved through calculated probability matrices. We're not just adapting, we're adapting optimally. Admiral Harrison's hologram appeared in the chamber, his expression grim but determined. The Syndicate is mounting another offensive. 3 fleets, larger than anything we've seen before. They're determined to end this now. They know we've learned their weakness, Maya replied. They won't give us time to exploit it fully. Then we'll have to show them what humans do best, improvise. Harrison's hologram gestured, bringing up tactical displays of the incoming Syndicate armada. They think they understand our capabilities now. Time to show them how wrong they are. The plan they devised was audacious. Instead of meeting the Syndicate fleets in conventional battle, the Legacy fleet would divide into smaller battle groups, each implementing different evolutionary patterns in their hybrid technology. The enemy would face not one type of adaptation, but dozens, each changing and shifting in ways their biological systems couldn't match. It's risky, Maya said, studying the battle plans. We're splitting our forces against a superior enemy. Sometimes the best way to win isn't to be stronger, Harrison replied. It's to be smarter. The Hyperion, newly upgraded with hybrid quantum biological systems, led its battle group to the outer edges of Mars' orbit. Other Legacy vessels took up positions throughout the solar system, each incorporating different aspects of the captured Syndicate technology. When the enemy fleet arrived, they found not the battered remnants of their previous victory, but a transformed opponent. The Legacy ships moved with impossible precision, their hybrid systems allowing them to predict and counter Syndicate adaptations before they occurred. Multiple Syndicate vessels showing signs of confusion, Lieutenant Chen reported from her tactical station. Their biological systems are trying to adapt, but our quantum algorithms are forecasting and countering their evolutionary paths. The space around Mars became a testing ground for humanity's new approach to warfare. Legacy ships executed maneuvers that merged biological intuition with quantum mathematics, creating patterns of attack and defense that the Syndicate had never encountered. Maya watched as the Hyperion's hybrid systems engaged a Syndicate dreadnought. The enemy vessel attempted to evolve countermeasures, its living technology rapidly mutating to face the threat. But with each change, the Hyperion's quantum systems calculated the most probable adaptations and prepared countermeasures before they were needed. Their biological components are showing signs of stress, Dr. Zhang reported, monitoring the battle from his station. They can't maintain this pace of evolution. Their systems are burning out. One by one, Syndicate ships began to fail. Their biological technology, pushed beyond its limits by trying to match the Legacy fleet's quantum-enhanced evolution, started to break down. Ships that had seemed invincible weeks ago were now struggling against an enemy that had learned not just to match their adaptability, but to exceed it. All battle groups report similar results, Rodriguez announced. The Syndicate fleet is in full retreat. They've lost over 60% of their forces. The victory was decisive, but Maya knew it was only the beginning. The Syndicate would return, and they would try to counter this new threat. But humanity had proven something crucial. They could take any advantage their enemy possessed and improve upon it. Send word to all Legacy commands, Harrison ordered. Operation Quantum Evolution is a success. Begin full implementation across the fleet. As the remaining Syndicate ships fled the solar system, Maya stood at the Hyperion's observation deck, watching Mars glow red in the distance. The planet where humanity had suffered its first devastating loss was now the site of their greatest victory. The Legacy fleet had not just survived, it had evolved. And in doing so, it had demonstrated humanity's greatest strength, the ability to learn, adapt, and improve upon anything they encountered. The Syndicate had brought biological warfare to Earth's doorstep. Humanity had responded by mastering it, quantifying it, and turning it into something entirely new. The tide of war had turned, but the final battle was yet to come. The Syndicate would return with new weapons, new strategies, new adaptations. But this time, humanity would be ready. They had proven they could match their enemy's greatest strength. Now it was time to show them humanity's true power. The quantum sensors detected them first, a massive syndicate fleet emerging from the depths of space. Not just a battle group or an armada, but the full might of their empire. Thousands of ships, led by their supreme command vessel, a biomechanical leviathan that dwarfed everything around it. Captain Maya Patel stood on the Hyperion's bridge, watching as the tactical displays tracked the incoming force. The enemy had committed everything to this final assault, determined to crush the upstart species that had dared to not only resist but adapt and overcome their superior technology. "They're not holding anything back," Admiral Harrison's hologram noted grimly. "Their entire civilization has staked its reputation on this battle. If they fail here, their authority over their subject worlds will crumble." "Then we make sure they fail," Maya replied, her voice steady. The legacy fleet had been transformed by the integration of quantum-enhanced biological systems. Every ship, every weapon, every defense had been rebuilt to incorporate their new understanding of adaptive warfare. Dr. Zhang's voice came through the command channel. "The latest quantum evolutionary algorithms are online. Our hybrid systems are operating at peak efficiency. Whatever they throw at us, we can adapt faster, better, and more precisely than their purely biological technology." The legacy fleet assembled in formation around Earth, humanity's last line of defense, and now their spearhead for attack. The Hyperion took point position, its hybrid systems humming with potential energy. They had learned, evolved, and prepared for this moment. The Syndicate's supreme commander broadcast a message across all frequencies. "You have impressed us, humans. Your ability to learn and adapt exceeds anything we've encountered in our conquest of the galaxy. Surrender now, join our empire as equals, and we will spare your world." Maya smiled grimly. "Lieutenant Chen, send our response." The Hyperion's main quantum cannon fired, its beam enhanced by biological adaptation matrices. The shot crossed the vast distance almost instantly, smashing through the shields of a Syndicate heavy cruiser and reducing it to atoms. "I think they got the message," Rodriguez commented dryly. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. The Syndicate fleet attacked with everything they had, their ships evolving and adapting with desperate speed. But each change, each mutation was met and countered by the legacy fleet's quantum-enhanced systems. The space around Earth became a graveyard of broken ships and shattered dreams of empire. The Syndicate's biological technology, pushed beyond its limits, began to break down under the relentless pressure of humanity's engineered evolution. "Their supreme command ship is altering course," Chen reported. "They're attempting to break through to Earth directly." Maya watched as the massive alien vessel, its hull writhing with desperate mutations, drove toward their homeworld. The Syndicate commander had decided to end this with one final devastating strike. "All ships, form up on the Hyperion," Maya ordered. "Divert all power to the hybrid systems. We end this now." The legacy fleet moved as one, their quantum biological technology allowing them to coordinate with unprecedented precision. Every ship had been built in secret, prepared for centuries for exactly this kind of threat. Now they would show the galaxy why humanity had survived every challenge it had ever faced. The Hyperion led the charge, its hybrid systems pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The Supreme Command ship's biological defenses evolved frantically, trying to counter the assault, but humanity's quantum algorithms were already calculating and implementing countermeasures before each adaptation could take effect. "Their systems are cascading into failure," John reported excitedly. "The biological components can't handle the stress of continuous forced evolution." The massive alien vessel began to break apart, its living technology literally tearing itself apart in its desperate attempt to match humanity's engineered evolution. The sight of their flagship's destruction sent shockwaves through the remaining Syndicate forces. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat," Chen announced. "They're abandoning their remaining ships to make faster getaway speeds." Maya stood at the viewport, watching as the remnants of the once mighty Syndicate armada fled Earth's solar system. They had come expecting to find a primitive species, one that would either be easily conquered or worthy of absorption into their empire. Instead, they had found humanity, adaptable, resourceful, and utterly indomitable. Admiral Harrison's hologram addressed the fleet. "Send word to every corner of space. Let the galaxy know what happened here. Humanity will not bow, will not break, and will not be conquered. We guard our own, we avenge our fallen, and we turn our enemies' strengths against them." The Legacy fleet regrouped around Earth, their hybrid systems powering down from battle status. They had lost ships and crews in the fight, but they had gained something far more valuable: respect. The galaxy would know that Earth was not to be trifled with. Maya thought of the Mars colony, of the lives lost that had started this conflict. They had been avenged, and more importantly, their sacrifice had led humanity to evolve beyond anything they could have imagined. The Legacy fleet would remain vigilant, guarding Earth's interests among the stars. But now they would do so not just as defenders, but as innovators, taking whatever challenges the galaxy presented and turning them into advantages. The Syndicate had thought to teach humanity its place in the cosmic hierarchy. Instead, they had learned a lesson as old as Earth itself: never underestimate a species that had spent its entire existence adapting, overcoming, and turning weaknesses into strengths. The Legacy fleet would ensure that lesson would never be forgotten.